everyone, welcome to today's live section. Today I would like to share with you about news in terms how department proceed and how they actually want to see the current situation. So I will just wait a few minutes for some of you to join in, but we'll start when we have that. Okay, so thank you for joining me. I hope some of them will join us later. So this live section, I think it is just for me to first try to see whether we have some kind of interest. Thank you, Michael, to join us. So today will be a very kind of an update about current situation with the Global Talent Program. The first one, I just shared that some news about Afterpay has been acquired by Square. I believe that's 39 billion US dollar. And because of that, so Australian government trying to push a lot about, and then there's a lot of voices in the area of the tech sector looking for the innovation. So therefore, candidates with a startup background or background has innovative ideas similar to Afterpay software as a service can have attractions from the government for the current situation. So you can see that global talent is actually quite flexible. Because of that, I believe that they stood up a new council called Tech Council. So Tech Council is a new lobby group, and they are very actively supporting the Global Talent Program. I believe they will be in a position to really nominate candidates. Currently, only two organizations nominating candidates for the Global Talent Program. One is the Australian Computer Society, which is ACS. Another one is Engineer Australia, EA. So Australian Engineer EA, they started to nominate candidates just today. So this is big news here. So someone who's actually have a really good background, they can approach EA. The EA only accept candidates and only take that candidates with a very strong engineering background. So that is the key of the new requirement. Another one will be the news that they would like to really consider helping candidates that are in the area of defense. Even some of them did not or do not meet high income requirement. So that's another key requirement. I think that is the most lately changed about Global Talent Program. I will share some of the most recent occupations we did in, for instance, in the area of finance. So finance covers a lot of areas, including wealth management, asset management, insurance, as well as something an IPO, merging, acquisition. Some of these areas can get GTI invitation as well. In particularly some of the areas that are quite interesting, for instance, that IPO or cross-border, obviously it will be cross-border transactions. So that's the area that mostly under the financial sector. Now, under financial sector also have a few areas, like if the candidate is working in a profit and loss area of digital business. So, about sales strategy or making sure they acquire new clients, that area can be considered for GTR as well. So we've done quite a lot in that area. So finance covered quite a lot. Or some of finance, for instance, it is about digital wallet, but the candidate with a finance background, accounting background, but they are able to really analyze the market needs and then when to, how much incentives they're able to give customers. So that can be considered. Another area in finance, I think, for instance, money laundering, anti-money laundering, and anti-money laundering. So compliance, legal compliance, or in the area of in the areas helping others to really acquire investors or attract investors. And so that it's the one of the areas for fintech as well, financial industry. So financial and fintech can be really broad. There is no set of occupations or set of jobs that we encountered that is under normal people's understanding, and they're not sure whether this will be okay and that will be okay. I think for me, how I do this, or I might make assessment, is really to look at how likely these candidates will attract high income in Australia, and how likely they will contribute to the sector. Yes, in terms of education, I think someone asked, female teachers specialize SAST teaching considering any possibility or not. So education, that's very different sector. People think education is about education teaching. It is not. It is about education technology. For instance, if someone can propose the idea of online education training platform enables students to study STEM with the interactive features, that can be considered. Or someone's working in the area of education, that's a really good example I want to give, who's not a researcher themselves, but they are actually asking, but they can actually help university to attract fundings. In this instance, they are not academia, so they are not teachers, academia, and they are not in an area of technology, right? But they are in an area of profit loss, helping the university to attract fundings, and that's under education. So education, it's about what kind of work you can help the whole industry to move forward. Now, a lot of people, if you're a teacher in a secondary school, primary school, although I believe that it's a very important job, just the immigration point of view, it's you're not moving industry forward. You are helping a very small percentage of people. So being educator alone cannot meet the requirement. Even for lecturers working, we have a candidate, for instance, working one of the university who's already a professor, but a professor in chemistry. In this case, he's actually not in the area of education. And the department, we talk with the department whether he's in the area of education or in the area of health. Because at the end of the day, his solution will be able to help in the health industry. And then the department say you cannot put it in education, it's health. Now, in this instance, he's actually as an educator, but his job is really about researcher, right? Scientist, research. Although as a researcher in a uni, you do some kind of lectures. I don't think you have many, but a few lectures per week. So education itself does not mean if you're an educator, you're eligible. It is not that. It's about education technology or ability to create curriculum to lift up the standards of Australian education system. That is a really big one, isn't it? So I have another question. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So about EOI processing time. Now, prior to February, they just take whoever lodged first. Yeah, they take and then they process it. Now, EOI is not happening like that. They have two groups. One is priority and one is non-priority. So if they deem your application is non-priority, which means your application will be not processed, you'll be pushed back to the non-priority team, which the non-priority team, they are currently processing application in November, who lodge application in November, which is more than 8 months now. The priority applications, if they deem you prioritize, then your application will process within weeks. Okay, not months, weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. You get feedback. Now, I believe that since February, lots of candidates have been their case being pushed back to non-priority team. So they just don't receive any feedback. They don't know what to do, and they just wait. Now what we do, it's actually quite different. You know that from Hong Kong, candidates from Hong Kong, they automatically prioritize. But how can we make sure other candidates, they can be prioritized? You need to make a case to the talent officer. You need to make a case to the talent officer before, after EOI. You must make a case. It is preferable make a case before EOI, and then you can have her name or his name down, right, on the EOI form. And then they will say, I'm very happy to prioritize your application. And then you can put that correspondence in your EOI application. If you lodge your EOI, then still not prioritized, and then you can request after that. But that will be a lot harder because you see, your case is already non-priority, so someone's going to find it out. So you need to make a case to the talent office in order to be prioritized. If you believe under the direction 89, you are under the direction 89, which is currently, it is, first of all, first line of direction is you can earn, so you have job offer of high income. Secondly, second line of priority will be you already earn high income. Third line of priority is you are likely to earn high income. Now the likelihood, if you say you're likely, which means you don't meet the first and second line of priority. Now you have to justify the third line. So therefore in your UI, you have to justify that. And then when you ask for priority, you have to justify that, right? So processing time varies, okay, varies. It's not about, if I lodge at the same time with my colleague, let's say, or someone else I know, that my friend, or I have the same feedback, they might have feedback in 2 days time, and I won't be. Why? Because that is a processing team, they use that. So because my case being put back to non-priority, nobody actually looking at file, right? Someone asked, okay, what is the best time for doctor student to submit GTR? I just started my 3rd year PhD in medicine this month, and I expect to graduate February. Okay, so in terms of PhD graduate, the law has changed. The law has changed already. In the past, a PhD graduate who graduated within the last 3 years can be eligible and can apply global talent. Okay, or they about to graduate, which is within 6 months of graduation. Now, I do not suggest anyone without receiving the actual certificate to apply GTR, because you're going to be rejected. The law has already changed. They will just automatically reject you. Just don't do that. So wait until you receive that certificate. So the best time would be obviously wait until. But after you receive, does that mean you can get invitation? No. Why? Because one of the areas they adjust in terms of PhD students is, one of the areas they adjust is that you must demonstrate prior to your PhD student study, you have some kind of achievement. So you can't just say, hey, if I got graduate, look at this, awesome. Can I apply? Oh yeah, they're gonna reject you. So because that policy change in terms of that, and that's a case of lots of PhD. They just believe, oh, my my friend got it, I'm just doing it, and what on earth, I got rejected. So many of candidates and PhD students at the time being rejected because of sudden change, and they don't know how, they don't know why. And so is there possibility to relodge if you reject it, because of policy change? Definitely, if the circumstance changed. And then you need to, because it's policy change in terms of high income, how you're going to earn high income. Previously, getting a PhD, meaning, you automatically meet the high income threshold. Now you don't. So therefore, you have to justify. But most of the you can't get high income. So how are you going to justify, right? So you need to be thinking in really in depth, think about how I'm going to justify that. So the best time for PhD ever, you cannot, please don't lodge your eye, because you're going to have a negative, and that's not going to be good for the record, isn't it? Statistician, so one of the, Michael asked, statistician and apply under data science since November 2020. No response. That is normal, Michael. I know a lot of PhD, they lodge themselves and never got back, which is not okay. So in this case, because you launched November, although that time the policy, still old policy, right? Although they should apply old policy. However, they say, you know what? I don't care. Whoever have not got invitation at this time will be applied for using new policy. Okay. So therefore, and then you lodge your EOI using the old policy, right? But they're gonna assess you using the new policy. So you need to do that. You need to justify that two key areas. One, how you're gonna meet the high income requirement. You need to justify. You need to think about, and you're gonna need to provide further documents. Otherwise, because your case has been put back in no priority already, so which means they're not going to give you anyway. So you need to provide why you can meet high income requirement. Another work you will need to do is you need to dig in and think about, before I got my PhD and after I've got my PhD, how am I going to show that I have really great achievement? You need to dig in and think about that before and after. So that's no point to wait there, because waiting is actually a bad sign, isn't it? Okay, so I've got one monster. Thank you for your question. You asked us based on your excellent, thank you very much. Yes, we have a very good experience with the government. Do you have any tips for medical PhD students in Australia regarding your? We have helped quite a lot. Okay, quite a lot. We actually have experience where some of candidates, when they initially approach us, I talked to him, I think last year, I thought, let's do this, okay, do this. And they did themselves. And they got rejected. And I asked me to reapply. But I just, because policy changed, man, it's harder now, because at the time I asked them to do it immediately and they hesitate, wait, always wait. Why is that? Because some of the criteria no longer can meet requirement. For PhDs in medicine, we look at one of areas, speciality. For instance, we actually recently helped one area's candidate in the area of medicine, Chinese medicine. It is extremely hard, okay? It is because it is not widely recognized. So how are we going to do this? You're going to think about solutions instead of just study this thing. We specialize, we figure out something called pain management. Okay, some specialize in this area. So we chose this one. So it is really important that the talent officer none of them understand what you do. You need to, most time I tell everybody, you need to be careful. They are not smarter than you. So you can't expect them to know what you are doing. You can't. So you can't just say, throw them a bunch of published articles and put them in orders, and regardless of whether you were first author, second author, last author, you just throw this stuff, and then you say give them a medical terms and say that a bunch of things. You just think about it. If I were the Kerham, I would say, I don't understand what you're talking about here. Okay, and I don't have access to your article, and you don't even provide me abstract. What are you going to solve the problem? All the research is about problems, right? And you have solution, and you try to understand, provide a significant knowledge gap. So you either provide solution or bridge in area of significant. I want to give an example, very good one. One of the candidates who's actually in the area of nothing's tech, no medical, in the area of, I don't know whether I should say this, but I think just say law, okay, social science, PhD graduate. I got endorsement for her. Why? Because I position herself in a way that international relations. Okay, her area is, I understand, international relations. Now she's actually doing PhD in law. And how are we gonna that? And now position herself under defense, which is pretty interesting, isn't it? It's not education. If I position her in education, that would be failed for 100%. Right, but I position herself in the area of defense. Why? Because I studied what she studied and realized there is a gap in knowledge, very small gap, that across whole that understanding, and that not thinking about that, but how this gap can help us to implement our foreign policy, right? Think big, think big, think about you're gonna break through the science, you're gonna break this, and then how this needs to, because it is a possibility there. That's the reason we study PhD. Right, so it's about positioning for medical. You think about, don't tell I'm studying this. Here is my article. Have a read. Give them a list of everything and throw the awards. And why you tell them that, right? You want to tell one story consistently, okay? And just very important that we have a candidate from medical industry, like Chinese medicine or like something like that, which is quite tough, isn't it? And one of the candidates already got invitation. I think 2 days ago we are lodging visa application. We just lodged it today. And so if you're studying medicine, you will need to think about big, okay? Because why people government give permanent visas for PhDs, because see your potential. You're gonna give people the hope. I am able to solve the problem. Yeah. And then my research topic, my angle is really different. We're gonna break through this, right? So a lot of PhD students, we got a PhD, permanent visa for them. Some of them never published article because it's hard, isn't it? It took a very long time. It will take a very long time, but it's never published at all. We have mathematicians. We have candidates from finance background. We have so that's no problem. I have another question. In which Viha asks, in which tech sector the PhD researcher working in engineering topic should apply? Engineering depends. For instance, we have a candidate whose area of engineering. I think a mechanical. I can't recall which discipline, engineering. But later on, he starts work with the mining company, and then we position him as the data science, right? So it depends how you apply that. It depends how you apply for that. So it is not your subject course. I study engineering. I have no idea of sector. So what kind of sector you're going to be working, right? Some of candidates with physics background, but they study in areas like, we have another PhD with, I think, agriculture. But later on, he went to work with pharmaceutical company. So is he in agriculture or not? No, right? Because you work, what kind of industry experience, the whole, in the future, what you're going to do. I think that's the key. If you don't tell me, if you If you want to ask further information, you can leave comment below, and then I can share the email address. We can do the assessment for you. So someone, Vihaka asked, I'm going to get my PhD degree next 6 months in engineering design. I like that. Design will be your key, I think. In which sectors apply? Education? No, don't apply because you don't have area. No, don't apply in education. Design. I need to know, is that semiconductor design? So which type of design? Okay, so advanced manufacturing. That is advanced manufacturing, is it? So I'm not sure whether this is the case, but I think that we have done candidates in the area semiconductor, so design, and we put them into advanced manufacturing. Think about that way. Okay, broader sector. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for no problem, and anytime. So I think we will finish in half an hour, but just to brief about my okay, so some of the areas, I've been thinking really about lots of cases where we do accept actually some candidates, they were rejected by lodging themselves and ask us. We do take some of cases if I see that scope to see that through. In this case, it is not making a mistake or what kind of mistake. It is really about you haven't think through about oneself in terms of their career progression. So questions like, how should I tell my story? For instance, if I'm here and I want to sell you about, I'm very special, I'm experienced in immigration law, how am I going to sell my case? Right? I can't tell you. You won't have a patience to listen to me if I'm saying, okay, 20 years ago I was a teacher. Indeed, I was. And I was a teacher, and after that I studied social science. Yeah, I did. I studied law. Yes, I just studied psychology. You have no interest for that, right? You don't. And people really present themselves. Majority of the rejection or some of the cases I saw, it's just because that is a mistake. If you write in that way, it means you think yourself in the past instead of the future. And that it's totally not aligned with this program. This program, it's about future setup, future imagination. So, and then you start to talk your first line of your write-up. You say, I graduated which uni 20 years ago. So, and you talk about past. You talk about future. So first line of work, we always say, I'm specialized in one area, and I'm doing that. I'm helping this to achieve whatever desired goal. So my work is, I'm specialized global talent program, independent program. I help tech professionals to get Australian permanent residency within 6 months, right? You can see that's really promising. That is something, and that is the first line. If you know the structure of them, you understand, oh, wow, that's something I need to focus, right? You need to put a priority into current work and move back to see back up your current claim. You specialize in pain. One of the candidates I mentioned to you, pain management. Obviously, he's done quite a lot of other steps. And he asked, what do we do? We say, okay, let's pick out this pain thing. Okay, pain management. And from now on, backward, whatever you do, you pick evidence, back up this. So you're a specialist in this area, right? I think that is the key of the and thinking. Obviously, if you ask me, oh, can you write this for me? But if you don't understand the logic behind, that would be very, very detrimental to that, because the whole thinking is wrong. Even some of candidates, you're not eligible now, but I see a lot of them have a really strong potential. Really strong potential. It's just about 90% there, but just don't know how to actually. And then they gave up. Gave up too early. Industrial design, human factors. That is very interesting. I think in your case, industrial design, industrial advanced manufacturing, I'll say you need to position yourself in that area. That's my current thinking. I haven't checked your profile, but in human factors design, and that's very good, very good. I think very good area. Yeah, very good area, which I think you can think about that, and think about in your case, think about it's really related to industry. Think about and perhaps thinking about getting some experience, right? Even of startup experience. Some of sometimes even unpaid. I do this just show some kind of vibration. Thinking about other your classmates applying. Although they might some of PhD students, they just, oh, my class, I mean, this person is not better than me. Why on earth this person got an invitation? How on earth do you know him, right? You don't. Did they tell you anything? You don't. Okay, perhaps they did something else before PhD. So you can't just people just justify or read forums information from, oh, I think someone's really similar to me. Because when we analyze in depth, no, nobody is similar, nobody the same. There's no two identical files, even for someone working next door. Have same position. We have worked for multiple companies where they actually refer by colleagues. They all totally different. So therefore, the positioning and thinking behind is actually different as well. All right, so I just covered about how you're gonna tell your story. Talk about one part, which is, so that's my tip one. Tip one is, in the last 10 minutes, first 10 minutes, I share with you that new changes, which is Afterpay was acquired by Square. The second one was Tech Council has stood up recently, which means they will become likely, that's a possibility they'll become a nominator. Third one, I share with you that Engineer Australia now can nominate candidates as well if you're very good. But obviously Engineer Australia, their requirement is actually harder than Global Talent Program. Okay, just let you know that. So that is some three news I should share with you. Okay, and then I share my first tip. It was that tell your story in terms thinking about future instead of past. Thinking about future instead of past. Do not tell your story like, I have a bachelor degree. You are specialized in one area, and what can you bring? What can you bring into Australia in the future? That's the first tip. So Michael asked me, and I'm going to talk about my second tip, which is how you can actually communicate with, ask people to make decision in your favor. That's a really good one, isn't it? So Michael just asked, are they processing now? EOI is launched in October or November. It really doesn't matter. So they just stop process. Okay. A few weeks ago, they said in October. Now they say November. And that's not much difference. And it doesn't guarantee you, if they say, I'm going to launch a process application in October, they going to process yours. Probably not going to process yours. Okay. So it doesn't really matter. If they're processing application launching in October, it doesn't guarantee you be processed. Some candidates, they are still waiting and they launched in August. It doesn't matter because they're not going to process you. And you have to give a reason why they should process you. And then you have to provide additional supporting document. Another tip I want to communicate, I want to say tip two. Tip one, I said you talk about things in future. Tip two, I would like to share that you have to communicate with the key person so that they can make decision in your favor. So how we can communicate, and that is a method of communication, or sometimes it's a culture thing. Especially, now why they scrutinize, and then why it was really easy in terms of documents required and Why is that? Because at the time when I was started talk about the global, nobody believed me. Nobody believed that was so easy. And then obviously lots of our clients, and they had a guts and then proceed, and then happily they got a permanent visa. And now if they colleagues approach me, and I would actually decline them. So in this case, communication, we should communicate in a manner that you want people make decision in your favor, and then you want to be precise. So, so how am I going to say that? So that therefore, if you write email, okay, request anything, right? You request and provide some information, and you want, for instance, you ask a town officer to give you endorsement in this case. Now, how are you going to ask them? You cannot. You obviously you need to provide your CV, but you can't provide like throw them all the stuff, hoping people are going to read through. That's not the case. So email has to be really short and then persuasive, and tell the candidate, the talent officer, why you meet these all requirements. Okay, so that's a second tip I want to share with you, which is communicate in the manner that you want the government to make a decision in your favor. Okay, so I think we will have another, let's say, I think we'll finish 8:45 because it'll be late here. I will have a few more questions if you want to ask, and I'll finish off my third tip. So first tip about tell your story in the future. Second one, it's about communication. Now, third one is how you're able to organize your document in the way that's helpful, and the weight of each document, right? Which means, what do we mean by weight? How much weight of each document? This is immigration matter. It's about weighting of the possibility, balance of possibility. Unlike criminal law, it's about beyond reasonable doubt. The text for civil matter is balance of possibility, which means they make decision on this. They make decision on, is it likely that this candidate is what we want, or unlikely? So you want to put information to them saying, yes, I am likely, right? You don't want to put that. So you only put information that you think that it's going to give you weight to support your claim. In this regard, you want to put some information that it's really supportive. For instance, some candidates, they mention, okay, working in the area of medicine. However, what happened? They volunteer a lot of societies, and then they won awards for their volunteering experience. Or they went to talk about TV about things that, and they got so many awards. One of candidates, and the end she got rejected because she did herself. When I consult her, I really want to talk to her, saying, just forget about this war, okay? Because these things does not give you weight on your current case. It doesn't give you weight. Your area is about medicine, and then you talk, I think these wonderful things, all right? Wonderful things to participate that, and then helping communities. That is absolutely great. And then charities, this and that. And so you're a good character. That's awesome. Yeah. But let me ask you a question. Does it give real weight to a claim that you have internationally recognized achievement, an outstanding achievement, right? Does it give you weight of that? You need to constantly think about, because if you provide things or evidence, document that it does not give you weight, you actually have a blind spot to not provide critical information because you thought, you know what, I've got so many awards. My God, I was on newspaper. Look at me. I got this award and that, and 20 pages from, right? So they thought, oh, I checked these requirements. You can see that article, tick the box. I've got the award, tick the box. Or the reference letter from this community, they say I'm a great person, tick the box. And why else I got rejected? So because whatever you provide, that does not help support your claim. And then you not stick to it. If I remove this, what else you have left? And nothing. Because you haven't provided anything, right? My suggestion, but you didn't listen to me. My suggestion, remove this. This is not critical. The text about balance of possibility. You want to give the evidence to the immigration, telling them that it is likely they are the person they were looking for. More than you're more likely than less likely, right? And you want to give more weight on this more likely thing. Yes, I have this background, although I have a physics background, but you know what? I have mathematical background, and although I'm not mathematician, but I use this skill to do what? Analyze DNAs, right? So and then it makes sense. The whole chain of event really to support you. But if you talk about, actually, nothing to do with my physics background, it's okay. I want to do something else. It doesn't help. So, so I have 2 minutes here. Awesome. So just to summarize today, I share with the 3 news with you. One is the Tech Council has stood up recently, and they are heavily promoting technology innovation. Another one is Afterpay is acquired by Square, which means the Australian government the Global Talent Program will be more likely to support candidates with innovation. Third one is the Engineer Australia. Now it's nominator. And I share 3 tips. One is you must tell your story in the future, focused for the future, not past. And second one, it's trying to communicate with the decision maker in a manner you want them to make decision in your favor. And third one, I forgot about my third one. If someone can remind me, I'll leave that to you if you can remember what I said in my third tip. Thank you very much for participation in today's live. This is actually my first time. I was kind of wandering around, but comment below if you think that's helpful. And I think that would be best to do it once a week, because I actually receive so many inquiries, and I wish I can answer all of them, but I can't. Tell me the third tips I share with you, and I hope you enjoy your evening. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.